Last few days, I've been seeing people from CRC, and they tell me, we're going to see you on the screen on Monday night, and I tell each and every one of them, well, I'll blow you a kiss. So I knew it was time to give up my hobby of making physical scrapbooks when my kids started arguing over who wasn't going to have to keep them when the time comes. But then the pandemic arrived, and I figured I was well positioned to chronicle this once-in-a-lifetime event by continuing for a bit longer. After all, it was only going to last a couple of months, right? So now, a year and a half later, I have, through pictures, clippings, and documents, a record of personal, of family, of societal moments as COVID has raged and shaken all of us from one new normal to another, including CRC moments, of course. A quick flip through the pages of my albums for these congregational moments revealed dozens of artifacts and photos of the phone calls we made to check in with every synagogue member in those first weeks of quarantine, filled with uncertainty and dread. The crew that formed to do drive-by oneg celebrations in front of the homes of families after their online bar and bat mitzvahs so they could counter the remoteness of it all. Correspondence with the first member to encounter a serious bout with COVID as they waited for care in the emergency room. They pulled through, thank goodness. Our effort with Northside churches to deliver groceries to at-risk families, interrupting virtual Rosh Hashanah services 1 year ago with our response to the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg of blessed memory. Posting powerful Voices of Black Jews videos made by our members. Dozens and dozens of cars rolling into our parking lot to drop off winter coats for homeless shelters. Online ukulele lessons, online Hebrew school, online Psalms, and a second online congregational Seder. Our Mitzvah Farm crew, continuing throughout the entire pandemic its integral mission of growing fresh produce to help bring nourishment to our food-insecure neighbors. Our first in-person service in over a year around the Lag BaOmer campfire, and much more. While I am surely gratified by all these ways that CRC, our community, is maintaining connection through this continuing public health crisis, I have no doubt that our sudden and unprecedented need to keep a distance from one another has still led to a fraying of our relationships to congregational life. The same way this pandemic has created a sad dissembling of how we relate to so many important people, communities, and institutions that are so important to us. So, as we slowly and in necessary fits and starts, hopefully begin to return to something resembling normalcy at the synagogue, I would like to attempt to reintroduce us in a way to CRC. A reintroduction for those who have been part of CRC for decades, and for those who've joined us since the lockdown in 2020 and who know us largely so far as a solely virtual congregation. The way I want to do this is to briefly enumerate what to me are CRC's North Star guiding principles, an evolving set of goals that started with the hearts and minds of Rabbi Susan and our founders, who in very recent memory set to create an alternative to existing synagogues, one without pretense and trappings, one that could touch us, inspire us, and make positive change in our lives and in the world. As befitting these days of awe and our acknowledgement that teshuvah is a process of transformation and growth, the language I want to use is that of striving who we hope to be at our best. We strive to be an egalitarian community, one that embraces anyone who wants to join us, whether one time, occasionally, or all the time. People from a myriad of walks of life and economic circumstances, and we attempt to encounter each one of us on a soul level. Whoever we are, whatever our background, we are not judged, but instead equally respected and loved. We strive to be a synagogue that teaches that working for the common good is a clear Jewish value, and to get there, we must figure out wise and compassionate ways to level the playing field. We strive to be a congregation that is authentically Jewish, observing Jewish life with integrity and sincerity, while at the same time fully recognizing the validity and blessings of traditions other than Judaism, many of which are represented by CRC's many visitors, as well as by those who are our own members, friends, and allies who are themselves not Jewish. We strive to be an arena that is not phony, sanitized, or scripted, where if what is happening as we gather is sweet, we rejoice and praise, and if what is happening is awful, we mourn and comfort. And most often, both are happening. So we will rejoice and mourn at the same service with spontaneity, humor, and empathy. Above all, we are part of this community in order to serve one another. We strive to provide an environment that promotes inclusion, compassion, and healing to those who have been marginalized by religion's unfortunate tendency to ostracize and judge, including women, LGBTQIA individuals, people of color, immigrants, and any member of any vulnerable group who are drawn to our Sukkot Shalom, our shelter of peace. We were founded to be a pro-choice congregation, advocating for every woman's right to make their own decisions about their own bodies. We strive to be radically present and lovingly nurturing for our precious children, reminding ourselves that their education here must be about more than just the whats, hows, and whys of Judaism. Through the quick passage, and it is quick, from religious and Hebrew schools, bar and bat mitzvahs, and confirmation, we need to continually model for our young people the values of compassion, moral action to bring more justice and peace, kindness, hope, empathy, inclusion, and the sharing of resources. We strive to be an urban congregation in more than simply our city zip code, meaning that we will connect with our neighbors, cross the Delmar divide, and revel in diversity and cutting-edge thought, culture, and action. We strive to be a green congregation, taking measures to reduce our footprint on the earth and remaining mindful of all the ways we can reduce the damage to the holy and beautiful natural world that is trying, despite our resistance, to sustain life on this planet, which is our shared home. We strive to create ever-expanding opportunities to study, search, interpret, question, create, dialogue, and organize. And we want to always teach Torah through progressive, ethical, non-hierarchical, non-chauvinistic, and non-triumphalist lenses. That is who we strive to be, especially in these most challenging times. The scrapbook that is our tradition tells us that we built and then had to rebuild our only temple. And then, after the second one was destroyed, we started all over again with a decentralized system of intertwined but distinct communities all over the globe. We have been down before, but not once have we been out. Using our visions of what we are striving to be and the spirit of renewal that is the promise of Rosh Hashanah, I believe we can emerge from this extremely challenging time of separation to come together again, to carry on loving one another, taking care of each other, and closing the spaces between us. We can become an even better picture of ourselves, of our sacred CRC community, and even we can build a better version of the world. L'Shana Tova.